Hey, this is Sean Palmer, and I'm making this video for my good friend Jonathan Larson, who says he loves coffee and he's trying cold press coffee. Now, I want to turn you on to kind of coffee that I've been drinking for a couple months now, and it is it's a kind of coffee that's part of a guy named Dave Asprey calls it Bulletproof coffee, and it's kind of an unusual thing. One of the things I like about coffee, I like the taste of coffee, but what I really love about coffee is the metabolic effects. You know, the clarity that you get with caffeine, and so this kind of coffee, some people claim, excuse me, I have a cold, claim that this kind of coffee increases the metabolic effect of normal coffee, and doesn't give you the crash that you get from normal caffeine through coffee. And the theory behind it is that when you drink coffee, there are microtoxins in your standard commercial coffee, as well as the lactose, sugar highs that you're getting from adding cream and high saturated fats of creams and sugars and things like that. So this coffee has absolutely no sugar in it, but it has a lot of um, uh, multi-chain triglycerides that you find in like coconut oil. So anyway, this is bulletproof coffee, and the ingredients and things that you need for it are organic coffee. Guys, advocates, biohack advocates, Dave Asprey puts out their own kind of coffee, but I've found that happens to be Venezuelan coffee. But anything that's one source, sustainable, organic coffee will do the trick for this. And the things that are said to be in standard coffee, the microtoxins, are at least less in something like this. And obviously, this is a lot cheaper than the kind that these biohackers are putting out to market. So, but the concept is still there. The other thing you're going to need is multi-chain triglyceride source coconut oil, which a lot of people use for cooking. It's got obviously very high in saturated fats, but it's multi-chain triglycerides. It's a very clean burning and does not get converted into traditional fat. You also need to add, and this is surprising for a lot of people, butter, but not just any kind of butter. This is grass-fed butter that you can get. This is Kerrygold. It's a lot more yellow than the other kinds of butters that you find out there that include a lot of vegetable oils, which are not good as far as the fat. This is the right kind of fat that you need. All right, anyway, to make it, you need a blender, which I've preheated here with hot water so that, when we blend all this up, it's not going to cool it off. And you have to use a French press for this because paper filters will filter out the essential oils in the coffee beans and filter out all the good stuff. So we're going to start, and I'm just making about 1.5 cups. It's usually what I do. But when I drink this stuff, and I've been drinking this for a couple months now, and I will let you know that I've not changed my diet or exercise regimen at all. And just by drinking this coffee alone, and I'm also eating organic meat more. With those two changes, I've lost 15 pounds. I haven't exercised more, done anything else. So anyway, I'm going to do 2 tablespoons rounded tablespoons of the organic coffee. And then I'm going to heat up 2 cups of water just off the boil. I'm going to boil it for about 4 minutes, or put it in the microwave rather for 4 minutes, and then let it sort of calm down, and then put it in there. We'll get back. Okay, so we've got 2 cups of water just off the boil, and going to pour that into the French press. And stir it up a bit. And we're going to let that seep or brew for about 4 minutes. I like to put the cap back on to keep the heat in. Now, one thing you can see here is you can already see a line of what they call crema at the top that lets you know that this is fresh coffee. So we'll come back in about 4 minutes. Okay, so coffee's been brewing in the French press. It's been 4 minutes now, so we're gonna pour that into our my preheated blender. You gotta put it in a blender. It doesn't work if you try to stir it up. I've tried that and it just makes big clumpy messes. And this sounds crazy, but unsalted butter, and that's, this grass-fed butter, it's important because there's different kinds of fats you find in the, kind of stuff you just find generally around. I use the recipe that I started with said to use 2 tablespoons per cup, and that's too much for me. My stomach can't handle that much oil, because in addition we're going to add a tablespoon of coconut oil, extra virgin. This has the multi-chain triglycerides that really give that metabolic effect to it. So I know it sounds crazy, but you plop it in here, butter and coffee, but blend it up. Good job on that. And then what you're going to get is let's get a cup. Got Sydney's stuff on it. So what you get here is it's kind of like a latte. You get that thick foam there that you get if you go to Starbucks. I love Starbucks, but that stuff is just, crazy with sugar and fat. And you can just pour it in here, and it smells delicious, and it is really, really good. It's not too sweet. It's got that creaminess to it, and it doesn't taste like butter at all. It's got a buttery flavor, but sort of in the same way that a latte would. But it's delicious, and you get that thick head of foam like as if you were drinking a Starbucks. Anyway, that's what they call bulletproof coffee, and really, seriously, I swear by it. I have a cup and a half of that at the beginning of the day, and that really keeps me firing on all pistons, until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon before I start to not feel its effect anymore. And there's no crash to it. There's no, really heavy feeling, and there are no headaches and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's because of the mycotoxins or the lack of lactose in it, the milk sugars. But anyway, it's very delicious. Try it out. It's really good.